I'm here today to talk to you about my sketchbooks. In one of my first memories of keeping a sketchbook, I'm in a dimly lit apartment with my grandpa. We're sitting around a wooden table. There's a spiral-bound book on the table and 2 salt and pepper shakers shaped like pilgrims. They have orange hair and little brown outfits. And my grandpa looks at me and he says, "Chris, teach me to draw." And I am about 10 years old. I have no idea what I'm doing. But he looks at me with confidence, and so I try. It's dark. In the back right side of the room, my sister's playing, watching TV. There's a lamp behind her. And underneath the countertop is a string of yellow lights. We just had pizza. There are napkins left over from dinner with blue ink, something my grandma had scribbled on it. And though almost 30 years have passed since that memory, I still remember it with a great deal of clarity. I credit that not to my amazing memory, as many of you can attest to, but to the fact that we were drawing. I'm not alone in this. The Association for Science claims that the act of drawing promotes better recognition, even more so than writing, due to the high detail and large degree of context. I am not a scientist, but I am an artist. And even more important than my paintings are these books. They're torn, they're tattered, there's scraps of God knows inside of them. They've been spilt on, thrown around. There are receipts in there, to-do lists. But they remain some of the more important objects in my life. These books have been piling on my shelves for the past 20 years, and they contain the ideas, the illustrations, and all the memories I've been able to record before the moment passed. I now have it down to kind of a system, but it began as kind of an escape. Let me start by saying that in high school, the world was different. Our phones were not smart. And the internet was in its infancy. There was no Facebook. There was no Instagram. We had dial-up. And so if we needed freedom or an escape, if we were feeling worried or anxious, we couldn't retreat to the internet. And so I would open up my sketchbook. When I was drawing, no one was looking over my shoulder. They weren't meant for anyone. These pages were only meant for me. And that's how it started. I'd open my page and release. Whatever had happened in that day, whatever I'd been going through, whatever I was dealing with or figuring out would be etched onto a page in a combination of image and word. When I begin to feel disconnected or disillusioned, I can open my sketchbook and find a way to connect. I can find something in my environment worth remembering. The light on someone's face, a view out the window, a scrap of napkin, and suddenly something I'd been dodging was worth recording. And as my drawings would develop, oftentimes my initial, sometimes frustrated intent would disappear under a string of marks until feelings I had no other outlet for would be arranged into art. And then, like a miracle, I could turn the page. I could close the book and file it on a shelf under the year, tucked away. When I'm drawing in my sketchbook, I'm not concerned. I don't care about quality or accuracy. I don't care who's around, who's looking, who's going to see it. They were never made to be seen. What you're seeing here is a drawing. I'm very pregnant at the time. There's a round belly on the bottom, and I have some little possible names for my first son scrolled across the top. Drawing allows me to work through the emotions and observe my world more clearly. This is both freeing and empowering. It requires that I be fully present while I'm doing it. It also allows me to notice things in my space that I may have otherwise overlooked. I'm constantly on the hunt to find something beautiful. And my sketchbooks, they become kind of a security blanket. Even now, I always have it on me. It records the moments that make up my life. The process of drawing, it fuses memory with mark making. It becomes a kind of meditation. When I draw, external voices, feelings, expectations, they all disappear. My eyes fix to a subject, and my marks fall in a rhythm, and for a few short moments, it's just me, soaking it in. If I want to remember a point in my life more clearly or evaluate a situation with fresh eyes, all I need to do is open a page, and I can see my own point of view through the lens of the present. This drawing was done on my honeymoon. My husband and I are on the top of some hill far from our hotel. We're checking out the view. It's beautiful. The skies open up, and it's pouring. We don't know the language. We can't call an Uber. And it could have been a very different memory. But we walked a little bit, we found a little alcove, we sat and waited out the storm. I drew, we talked. And now looking back, it was a pretty fun day. Who we are, what we feel, and how we react to the world is forever linked to the marks that we make. It's that act that is transformative. When I do this, there's no worry, there's no anxiety, there's no drama. It's simply me recording and responding to my world. And I no longer see my sketchbooks as an escape. I view them as kind of time capsules. They're there in order to transport myself in and out of time, both now for myself, but also as a way to share parts of my life with my children well into their futures. I have drawings from the first days I met my husband. I'm on the phone with him here in these drawings. And many that we've made while cataloging the road trip we took when we first met. I look back lovingly at the first drawings I ever made of my sons on the days they were born. Or the last drawings of my grandfather. And it all feels fresh. I can watch my children grow up through my eyes, but also through the evolution of their marks when they draw with me. I turn a page and it's 2017. I see a drawing of my son sleeping. This is drawn from the rearview mirror. Marks hug his face and mimic a kind of pillow. Pink, peach, and purple scribbles fill him with warmth. He's surrounded by thin, light marks that represent a car window, and there are trees and a playground in the distance. This is a quiet drawing. I did not want to wake him. This is a moment of peace for both of us. He needed a nap, and Mama needed a moment to appreciate this incredible human being that was keeping her up at all hours of the night. It was exhausting. And looking back, I can still feel the heaviness. I can see in my line work the necessity to do this quickly and to remember the good fortune that is a sleepy car ride and drive-through coffee. By recording an honest and true reflection of the world, of my world, I can capture a moment, store it away, and reach back and touch it at another moment in time. When I look at this page, I'm still tired, but I'm filled with warmth, both from love and from Starbucks. This is how I choose to record my life. This is about turning off judgment and tuning into myself, leaving a record of my thoughts for my loved ones. I've been keeping a steady log of drawings and writings most days since I was very young. And while they were not made to be seen, on these shelves of my living room, there's a detailed catalog of my existence. These pages are filled with meditations on events, like the boutonniere from my sister's wedding, on my feelings, exhaustion, mother of two, the locations, and the relationships most important to me. I turn a page, and it's 2014. I see a note I've left for myself. It says, "One day I will pick up this sketchbook and be transported through these moments. I will remember where I was and what it felt like." So this is not revisiting pages in a sketchbook. This is being transported through time back to the minutes spent making and viewing the past with fresh eyes. I hope that by sharing my process, others will be able to do the same. That by artfully meditating and documenting on your life, you'll have the opportunity to accept, acknowledge, and appreciate it. Looking at your own page with a new your own life with new perspective, with the fresh start of each page. Since becoming a mother, my initial fear is that I'd no longer have time to draw. That the all-consuming job of parenthood would remove that possibility from the equation. But in fact, the opposite's been true. It's now more important than ever that I draw, that I keep a record for my children. These books contain my thoughts, my studies, my successes, and my failures, and I view them as an extension of myself. These books are unedited, unbiased proof, documentation of my love. When I go home later today, I'll sit in our living room, and my sons will be climbing all over me. My living room was once a garage. We converted it. And on the furthest wall, there's a tall, narrow window. And through that window, I can see my neighbor's house and a tree in front of that. And each night, we watch the sunset from out that window. And each morning, we do the same. This is not a nice window. In fact, I'm in constant negotiations with my husband to replace this. And while I'm desperate to see more sky, I'm now able to appreciate just how perfect that little slice of sky is each morning, no matter the weather. Why am I telling you this? Because now each morning, as I sit with my sons on my lap and they drink their babas and eat their graham crackers, we can look out the window that I hope to replace, and I still can't help but think, I need to draw this. Thank you.